Japanese. Oldest doctor, just eat these every day and you will live to 100. I have been in the medical profession for 40 years and have seen all kinds of illnesses, from mild to serious. Some people come to see me because of joint pain, some because of insomnia, and some because they just want to live a few more years to see their grandchildren graduate from high school. I'm not the type of doctor who likes to say flowery things, but there's one thing that I still wonder about. Why are there people who are 90 years old and still make their own coffee, tend their gardens, and even drive to Walmart to buy groceries? And there are people who are only 65 and have to use a walker and have a whole bag of medicine prescribed, taking 3 pills before breakfast and 2 sedatives before they can sleep at night? The answer is not in genes. I have repeated this to hundreds of patients over the decades of my practice. Longevity really begins with the plate of food in front of you every day. In Twen, at a medical conference in Tokyo, I met a special man, an old man who walked faster than me, had a warm voice, bright eyes, and a very firm and warm handshake. That was Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, who is known as the world's longest-lived doctor. He lived to be 105 years old, still working, still writing books, still sharing how he lives a healthy life, not just a long life. At that time I thought, this is not just a doctor, he is living proof of what the whole world is searching for, how to live long without suffering. And what surprised me the most was his daily diet. Nothing expensive, nothing magical, just very familiar, very easy to find things, but how he uses and maintains them is the key. Today, I want to share with you, as he shared with me 15 years ago. I'm not here to tell you what to eat, I just want to tell you real stories. Real people I've treated. Meals that seem small, but saved a person's life. If you are in your 60s or 70s, or have parents who are approaching that age, I sincerely advise you to watch this video until the end, because I will tell you in turn about 7 foods that seem simple, but are the foundation that helps thousands of seniors in the U.S. live healthy lives until they are 100 years old without drugs or machines. And at the end of the video, I'll reveal Dr. Hinohara's exact daily meal plan, something I've kept secret for years, only sharing with people who are truly ready to change their lives. If you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends or relatives, especially if they are also worried about their health in old age. And if you have a story to tell, a food that changed your health, a little habit that makes you feel better, leave a comment below. I'll read every line, because those things are the gifts we can give each other at an age when time is no longer something to be wasted. Leafy green vegetables, and the story of grandmother Lillian in Oregon, who avoided a wheelchair with just a plate of vegetables. I still remember the day Lillian Patterson walked into my clinic in Eugene, Oregon. It was an early fall afternoon, and the golden sunlight streaming through the glass windows reflected off her silver hair like golden silk. She was 89 years old, but she still had the spirit of someone who had been an elementary school teacher for 40 years. But that day, she did not smile. She walked with her son, her hands shaking, taking small steps with the help of a walker. I asked, "What's the matter, Mrs. Lillian?" She pursed her lips, then said something that still haunts me. "I don't want to live any longer if I have to lie in bed every day and can't go to the garden." Tests showed that she had severe osteoporosis, her leg muscles were atrophied, and her knees were dry and painful to move. This was not an uncommon condition. Many of my elderly patients, especially those from low-sun areas, had similar problems. But what breaks my heart is the underlying reason. She ate too few green vegetables for many years. Sounds simple, right? But let me explain. In my 40 years of practice, I have read hundreds of studies on geriatric nutrition, and one thing is undeniable. Green leafy vegetables are one of the most powerful natural tonic things nature has ever given us. Kale, spinach, collard greens, arugula, mustard greens, Swiss chard. The vegetables we Americans often think of as eating to lose weight are actually a powerful recovery for bones, muscles, heart, and brain. They contain large amounts of vitamin K1, needed to activate proteins that help bind calcium to bones. Without K1, the calcium you take will be wasted. Vitamin C aids in collagen production, which keeps joints and blood vessels elastic. Vitamin A protects eyes, soft tissue, skin, and increases resistance. Folate and fiber feed the good bacteria in your gut, keeping your digestive system healthy. Not to mention, these vegetables contain extremely powerful antioxidants, lutein, zeaxanthin, flavonoids, that slow down the aging process of cells, especially brain cells and the retina of the eye. I said to Mrs. Lillian, "We will not rush to give medicine. Let's start with a plate of vegetables every morning." She smiled faintly. "What can a plate of vegetables save?" I said, "If you believe me, try it for 90 days. And here we go. A plan so simple that anyone watching this video can implement it tomorrow morning. Breakfast. 2 soft-boiled eggs. 1 cup spinach, sautéed with extra virgin olive oil, minced garlic, and a little black pepper. 1 slice whole wheat toast. 1 glass of unsweetened fresh orange juice. Lunch. Kale salad, mixed with tomatoes, walnuts, cucumber, grilled chicken breast. Dressing includes only olive oil, plus apple cider vinegar, plus lemon, plus mustard. Dinner. Soft stewed collard greens with white beans and salmon. After just 3 weeks, she said, "Doctor, I can walk up 3 steps without a walker." After 8 weeks, she removed the support frame. After 3 months, Mrs. Lillian replanted her old flower garden, digging the soil, planting lavender, watering it herself, as if she were 10 years younger. Many people think of vegetables as just a side dish to decorate the plate. But for the elderly, especially after the age of 65, green leafy vegetables are not food, but a savior. It helps purify the blood, lower bad cholesterol, aid the liver in detoxification, and keeps knee joints from turning into painful, rusty hinges. If you're eating less than 1 cup of green leafy vegetables a day, I'd honestly say, make that change today. Do what Lillian did. No pills, no gadgets, just a little change and a little patience, because your feet, like your life, deserve to go further. Jack, former Marine and intestinal rescue. With kimchi jar, I met Jack Harper in 2018 at a clinic in San Diego. He was 67 years old, tall, broad-shouldered, and had a firm voice, a Marine. He had served in Iraq in the early 1990s, swam through fire and survived through rigorous training and steely will. But the day I met him, Jack no longer had that demeanor. "Doctor," he said, squeezing my hand, "I can't control my stomach anymore." For the past 6 months, Jack had been living with constant stomach pain, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. Every time he finished eating, he had to run to the bathroom after only 10 minutes. He always felt tired, had no appetite, and was easily irritated. He had trouble sleeping at night, and his mind was foggy. The doctors ran all the tests, colonoscopy, blood tests, food allergies, digestive enzyme tests, and the vague conclusion, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. A doctor suggested inserting a small tube through his nose into his stomach to help him absorb nutrients, because Jack was losing so much weight. I didn't do that. I looked deep into Jack's eyes and asked a simple question. "Have you ever eaten fermented foods?" He shook his head. I have avoided sour foods since my training. For me, pickles and yogurt are both hard to digest. I sat down and explained slowly, from my own experience with hundreds of patients like him. Jack, your gut is screaming for company, what I call good bacteria. The human gut contains over 100 trillion bacteria, and when they're out of balance, you'll experience things like Jack, stomach aches, digestive upset, even insomnia and depression. This is related to a biological mechanism that scientists call the gut-brain axis. When the gut is inflamed, lacking beneficial bacteria, or containing too many bad bacteria, neurotransmitters such as serotonin, which is produced up to 90% in the gut, are reduced, and this directly affects mood, memory, and sleep. I advised Jack something that many people would find strange. Eat kimchi every day. Jack burst out laughing. Kimchi? That Korean thing? Yes, I said, but not for BBQ, to save your gut. I instructed him to eat 2 tablespoons of kimchi at lunch with a bowl of miso soup and a cup of kefir or plain Greek yogurt after dinner. Also, cut out fried foods, processed meats, and refined sugar. 3 weeks later, Jack called me. Doctor, my stomach has stopped growling, and I slept for 6 hours straight. 2 months later, he returned to the clinic, his face more rosy, his eyes regaining their old sparkle. I ran 2 miles this morning, and I made kimchi, Doc. I was moved, not because Asian food helped a U.S. Marine heal his gut, but because his body healed itself, with just the right support from microbes and fermented foods. Fermented foods such as kimchi, Korean fermented cabbage, miso, fermented soybean paste used in soup, sauerkraut, German sauerkraut, kefir, fermented milk containing powerful probiotics, unsweetened Greek yogurt, tempeh, Indonesian fermented soybeans. All contain billions of live probiotics that help, restores intestinal membrane, reduces inflammation in the digestive system, increases nutrient absorption, increases serotonin production, reduces anxiety and insomnia. If you are in your 60s, 80s and find yourself unstable abdomen or upset, insomnia, feeling heavy after every meal, or simply no longer feel like eating, then I sincerely advise add at least 1 fermented food to your daily routine. Don't take it lightly, because sometimes what's causing you pain isn't a disease. It's a microbiome crying out for help in your gut. Jeanette and the bowl of cereal that pulled her from the edge of wheelchair, the journey to reverse type 2 diabetes, springtime in Florida is wonderful. The sun is warm, the wind is gentle, and the waves sing. But in a small house in Sarasota last year, a woman thought this would be the last spring she would ever walk on her own 2 feet. Her name was Jeanette Morris, 74 years old, widowed with 2 sons living in another state who came home to visit once a month. She lived alone with a dog named Peanut. What I remember most about her was not her cloud-white hair or her syrupy southern accent, but her eyes that always sparkled with fear. Fear of losing the ability to walk. Fear of not being able to open the gate to walk the dog every morning like she had for the past 30 years. When she came to see me, she said, "Dr. Emerson, I've been feeling more and more numbness in my feet. One day I put my foot on the floor and I couldn't feel it at all. It was like my foot was dead." I checked and all the signs pointed in one direction: peripheral neuropathy due to type 2 diabetes. Her HbA1c was 8.1%, well above the safe limit. Her fasting blood sugar was consistently above 140, but what concerned me most was her diet. Jeanette had the same breakfast routine as millions of Americans: frozen waffles, sweet syrup, and a cup of black coffee. Sound familiar? You, or your parents, probably ate this too. But for people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, a breakfast high in sugar and low in fiber is a silent killer. I gently said to her, "Jeanette, if you don't change your breakfast, you will lose all feeling in your legs in 2 years, and I'm not sure you'll ever walk again." She looked at me, tears in her eyes. "What do you mean by change, doctor?" I replied, "We'll start with a bowl of whole-grain oatmeal every morning." You see, after decades of research on older adults with diabetes, I can say with certainty, whole grains are one of the most powerful tools for stabilizing blood sugar and fighting diabetes complications. Reason? Whole grains retain the bran, endosperm, and germ, containing complete fiber, B vitamins, magnesium, iron, and manganese. Soluble fiber in oats forms a gel in the gut, slowing sugar absorption and preventing post-meal blood sugar spikes. All substances like beta-glucan in oats help lower bad cholesterol, LDL, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. I instructed Mrs. Jeanette on the new menu. Breakfast: 1 bowl oatmeal cooked with unsweetened almond milk. Sprinkle with 1 teaspoon chia seeds, ground flax seeds, 3 banana slices or 4 blueberries. Add ground cinnamon for added flavor and to help stabilize blood sugar. Soft-boiled egg, black coffee with a dash of cinnamon, no sugar, lunch and dinner. Switch to brown rice or quinoa instead of white rice. Whole wheat bread instead of white bread. Avoid 100% refined grains, white flour, pastries, industrial cookies. 3 months later, I got a text message. "Doctor, I walked over a mile this morning, no more numbness in my legs." Just by changing her breakfast, from frozen waffles to a bowl of oatmeal with nuts and fruit, she dropped her HbA1c to 6.4% out of the danger zone and gradually regained feeling in her feet. I don't say this to exaggerate, I say it with all my heart as a doctor who has seen so many cases like this. Whole grains can change the fate of diabetics, if you know how to use them properly. The best whole grains for older adults in the U.S. are whole grain oats, steel-cut oats, rolled oats, brown rice, quinoa, barley, farro, bulgur, 100% whole grain bread. If you are 60 plus, have a history of diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, I recommend starting each morning with a bowl of home-cooked oatmeal. No need for extreme dieting. Just be consistent and consistent. Robert, a mini-stroke and a drop of olive oil saved his heart. I remember that March morning vividly, cold but sunny, as usual in Sacramento, California. My clinic phone rang at 7:23 a.m. Robert's wife's voice choked up. "Dr. Emerson, my husband just fell to the floor, can't move his right arm, and has difficulty speaking." I immediately told her to call 911. 45 minutes later, I was in the emergency room. Luckily, it was a mini-stroke, TIA. It left no permanent damage, but it was a strong warning. The next time it could be a real stroke, and there was no going back. Robert was 81 at the time. He was a retired carpenter who had lived in California all his life, loved tinkering in his garage, loved baseball, and loved margarine every morning on white bread. Test results showed that his LDL, bad, cholesterol level was 168 mg/dl, while his HDL, good, was very low. His CRP level, a marker of inflammation, was also high. I asked, "Robert, are you using any cooking oil?" I use the cheap margarine I used when I was working," he replied. "It's good, doctor." I sat down and looked straight at him like a friend. Robert, the stroke this morning did not come from age. It came from 20 years of using the wrong oil. I know what I'm saying isn't easy to hear, but I also know bad fats from margarine, corn oil, and industrial soybean oil are the source of many strokes and heart disease in older people. And there is something that could help Robert change his cardiovascular fate, something that Mediterranean medicine has proven for more than 50 years. Extra virgin olive oil. I recommend you switch all your cooking fats to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, the best kind, every day. 1 teaspoon olive oil in the morning with orange juice or coffee. Sauté vegetables, marinate fish, mix salad, all with olive oil. Stop margarine and all industrial shortenings. Now... I remember he looked at me and said, "Just oil, doctor? What good will a spoonful of oil do?" I smiled softly. "It doesn't save you. It helps your body save itself." Because extra virgin olive oil is more than just a cooking oil, it is a natural vascular protector with benefits confirmed in hundreds of studies. Contains polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that help reduce systemic inflammation, reduces LDL, bad cholesterol, and increases HDL, good. Prevents platelet aggregation, helps thin blood, reducing the risk of thrombosis. Improves vascular endothelial function, keeps blood vessels soft and flexible. Protect nerve cells from oxidation, reduce the risk of Alzheimer's. Dementia, I said to Robert, if you do this seriously, after 3 months your blood levels will change. But more importantly, you will feel more alert, lighter, and your steps will be more steady. And he did. He replaced the margarine, he replaced all the cooking oil. He used a tablespoon of olive oil every morning, in his salad or just on whole wheat bread. 3 months later, LDL was down to 121 LDL was up to good levels. CRP was down by half. But what I remember most was the life in his eyes when he walked into the clinic the next time. Robert laughed loudly, shook my hand. "I feel like my blood flows smoother, doctor." "I believe you are telling the truth. I have seen at least 200 patients improve their cardiovascular health just by adding extra virgin olive oil to their daily meals. If you are over 65, or have a history of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or a family history of stroke, my advice is, don't skimp on quality olive oil. A spoonful a day could be the wall between you and the ambulance. The best way to use olive oil: extra virgin, cold-pressed, dark green, slightly spicy taste in the throat when drinking. Do not use for deep frying, only use for light stir-frying, salad dressing, and drinking raw. Store in a cool place, away from light. And dosage, 1 to 2 tablespoons, day is enough. Mrs. Maria. Seed of memory, retained for a lifetime. I'll never forget that morning. It was dry and crisp in El Paso, as hot as any Texas day. In a small clinic on the border, 76-year-old Maria Alvarez came to me with her granddaughter. She was the interpreter. But what I remember most wasn't the language. It was the look in her eyes. That gaze, lost. Her granddaughter said, "She forgot my name, forgot her keys, cooked lunch, and then asked if I had eaten yet. And one night, she went out, stood in the middle of the yard, thinking she was still in Mexico in 1968. Maria was a mother, a wife, a grandmother, the spirit of her family. Every Cinco de Mayo, she cooked tamales and enchiladas, taught her grandchildren to dance the zapateado by candlelight. But now, every memory seemed to be erased, as if someone were slowly erasing her slate, piece by piece. I know I am facing the early stages of dementia. The big question is, can anything be done? There is no drug in the world that can completely reverse the loss of memory in old age. But there are things that can slow the process, help the brain get the right nourishment, and preserve memories, at least the most important ones. The names of children, the faces of grandchildren, the bustling summers on the porch. And in that journey, I chose to start very small, with walnuts and flax seeds. I told my niece to write it down carefully, every day. 5 walnuts, 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed, 1 teaspoon chia seeds. Serve with plain Greek yogurt or mix into breakfast oatmeal. Take an additional teaspoon of fish oil rich in EPA/DHA, if not eating fish, 2 to 3 times a week. Her granddaughter asked me, "Is that all, doctor?" I replied, "Sometimes a handful of small seeds can hold a lifetime of memories." To help you understand better, the elderly brain needs a special group of fats called omega-3, especially DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. DHA helps protect nerve cell membranes, increased brain signal transmission, reduced microglial inflammation in the brain, prevents the formation of amyloid plaques, the main cause of Alzheimer's disease. The problem is, the human body does not produce enough DHA on its own, and after the age of 65, the ability to metabolize it from plants becomes even weaker. Therefore, I always advise elderly patients to supplement natural omega-3 rich foods every day, especially from walnuts, the only nut rich in ALA, a precursor of DHA, flaxseed and chia seeds, rich in fiber, anti-inflammatory, wild salmon, sardines, mackerel, excellent sources of animal omega-3s, pure fish oil or algal oil, if you don't eat fish. Back to Mary. We started with small but steady changes. I didn't force her to take sleeping pills or tranquilizers. I didn't give her page-long prescriptions. I gave her a short menu. Breakfast, oatmeal plus 1 tablespoon chia seeds plus almond milk. Lunch, salad mixed with olive oil plus walnuts plus grilled salmon. Dinner, vegetable soup plus 1 tablespoon flaxseed plus slice of whole wheat bread. Before bed, 1 teaspoon of fish oil or omega-3 capsule. 3 months later, I received a postcard from my niece. "Dear Dr. Emerson, yesterday we played dominoes together for the first time in 6 months. You remembered exactly how to score. I cried when I saw you laughing. You know, in my 40 years of practice, I've seen hundreds of cases of dementia, but I've never seen anyone regret eating so many nuts. Unfortunately, they didn't eat enough, and it was too late. If you are over 65 years old and find yourself, forget people's names, difficulty concentrating, remember the wrong appointment, feeling fuzzy, slow, then trust me, a handful of seeds a day could be the last barrier between you and the reign of oblivion. Mr. Walter, 94 years old, still walks by himself because he is eating the same dish for 20 years. I first met Walter Whitley when he turned 90. He lives in the suburbs near Springfield, Missouri, in a weathered white house nestled among a maple forest that turns golden every fall. What struck me most was not his age. It was the way he opened the door when I arrived. Slow, but steady. No cane, no wheelchair, no walker. There was only the light click of rubber slippers on the wooden floor and a gentle smile. "Dr. Emerson, please come in. I just made your morning coffee." Walter lives alone after his wife Helen died of cancer nearly 10 years ago. Every morning he still keeps the same routine. Wake up at 5:30, open the window, sit and listen to the birds, make coffee, and eat the same thing. 2 boiled eggs with salt and pepper, plus 1 slice of ripe banana, plus 1 glass of pure coconut water. I was surprised and asked, "Walter, why have you been eating the same thing for 20 years?" He shrugged and smiled. My body likes it that way. I live well. I have no reason to change. It was then that I began to really look into what seemed so simple, and then realized Mr. Walter had accidentally combined 3 of the most powerful foods for elderly feet in a seemingly ordinary breakfast. Let's analyze it carefully. Boiled eggs. Silver bullet against muscle failure. Choline. Eggs are one of the richest sources of choline, a nutrient that is crucial for keeping muscle cells functioning properly. And leucine, an essential amino acid that helps trigger muscle protein synthesis, especially in older adults where muscle mass begins to decline sharply after 60. Vitamin B12 plus D supports nerves, stabilizes the spinal cord, reduces the risk of falls due to loss of sensation. Bananas, supplementing natural potassium to prevent contracts. Potassium helps maintain electrolyte balance, prevents cramps, and keeps the body from becoming dehydrated. Magnesium reduces muscle tension, supports smooth nerve function. Fiber plus natural sugar creates gentle energy without causing blood sugar spikes. Pure coconut water, natural infusion solution. Contains natural electrolytes, like a natural Gatorade. No sugar, no artificial colors. Increases muscle tissue hydration, helps muscles stay supple and respond better. Contains biological enzymes, supports digestion and more effective mineral absorption. I have seen many patients struggle with supplements, taking dozens of pills every morning, and still feeling tired, having joint pain, and staggering when standing up. And Walter? He only needed those 3 things every morning for over 20 years, and the results were stable blood pressure, 122/78, blood sugar within good range, no thigh muscle atrophy, very common in people over 85, and most importantly, he can still walk step by step with his own 2 feet. I'm not suggesting you eat exactly like Mr. Walter, but I want you to understand, sometimes regularity, simplicity, and naturalness are the most powerful tonics you can give your body. Breakfast suggestions for people over 70. 2 boiled eggs or fried with olive oil. 1/2 banana plus a few walnuts. 1 cup pure coconut water, no sugar, no concentrate. Add 1 slice of whole wheat bread if you need to stay full longer. And most importantly, eat in peace. No rush, no phone, no TV. Dr. Hinohara, longevity menu for people who do not age. I met Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara in Tokyo in 2010 when he was 98 years old. Still, I will never forget his brisk steps, the decisiveness in his words, and the hand that grasped my shoulder as he said, "Aging does not reside in the body. It begins in the mind." He wasn't the eat clean, drink clean, and sit around type of doctor. He worked until he was 100. He gave lectures in New York at 101, and he wrote books until a few months before he died, at 105. When I asked him for his secret, he didn't list a long list of exotic foods or expensive pills. He just smiled and said, "I eat the same thing every morning, and I always stop when I feel like I'm about 80% full." I have meticulously recorded his diet, what I call the ageless menu, and today I want to share it again, not as a recipe, but as a simple, gentle, but profound suggestion for anyone entering the twilight of life. Breakfast: 1 cup of fresh milk or unsweetened nut milk, 1 glass of fresh orange juice, 1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil, drink directly or mix with orange juice, 1 slice lightly toasted whole wheat bread, no coffee. He replaced it with light green tea. Lunch: very light. If not too hungry, Just have 1 glass of milk plus 2-3 saltine crackers. If you are more hungry, eat raw vegetable salad plus lightly steamed fish. Stay away from red meat, fast food, sugar. Dinner, light, mainly plant-based. 1 cup brown rice or quinoa. Steamed vegetables, broccoli, bok choy, carrots. 1 small portion steamed sea fish, such as mackerel or salmon. Sometimes add miso soup or tofu 2 times a week. He eats 100 grams of lean meat, usually skinless chicken or lightly grilled lean beef. Dessert, no sugar. Replace with seasonal fresh fruit. Apple, pear, melon, strawberry. And the most special thing, he never eats until he's full. He always stops when he feels his stomach is only 80% full. He believes that the body needs time to receive the signal of fullness. If we eat slowly and stop early, we will always stay light, in the stomach and in the mind. I have tried this lifestyle on hundreds of elderly American patients, and the results have been extremely positive. They gradually lose excess weight without dieting. Blood sugar and blood pressure stabilize again. Sleep better, digest better. And most importantly, they feel younger. If you're living past 60, I have a little but heartfelt advice. Don't look for foods that will make you 10 years younger. Choose meals that will help you age with grace and dignity. Dr. Hinohara once said, "I am not afraid of death. I am only afraid of living the last years of my life dependent on and bothering my children and grandchildren." And he lived just that, gently, independently, and soberly, until the very last moment. I didn't make this video to tell you what to eat or drink. I made it because I believe that each of us, whether we're 60 or 96, can start over with a meal. No need to do anything big, no need to change the world, just change the spoon you use every morning. If today's story touched you, please leave a comment below. What did you have for breakfast this morning, and what would you like to start over with tomorrow? If you know someone, a parent, an uncle, a neighbor, who is eating wrongly and doesn't know it, please share this video with them, because maybe your click today will save a leg, a heart, or a fading memory. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this journey worthwhile. I'm Dr. Harold Emerson, and I promise in the next videos I'll tell you more amazing stories from ordinary people like you and me.